The sounds you hear in the background are sounds of actual diesel engines that have been put onto microchips, as well as the sounds of the engineers that you hear.
They're having conversation.
Welcome to the Eshbach Railroad.
Well, I'm impressed. We've heard a lot about it, and this is certainly, wow, something. Let's start at the beginning. How in the world did you ever get interested in trains?
Let me cut one of the engines off so we won't be competing with the sounds of the trains. Now they'll.
Aha.
Now all is quiet again, and let me just reverse one train so we get the little buzzing going out there. There we go. Well.
Ooh, what does Theresa think of all this Mike's Train House proto sound?
Well,
I'm impressed.
She thinks it's a little noisy, but we get along.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, I've been able to negotiate a good bit of space this year.
You certainly negotiated a lot of space, and I think you need to thank her for allowing you all this space, because this pretty much takes up the family room.
Well, since this edition of In Touch is from the Eshbach home, and she's playing the piano, after a bit I'll give her a formal thank you.
Okay, that will be nice. She did open our program with a melody of Christmas selections. And as we said, this is Friday, December 26th, the day after Christmas, and we thought, wouldn't it be nice if we just came out and saw Warren's trains, Christmas trains, you know?
You asked me how this all started.
That's how I want to know. When did you get the fever?
This all started when I was 1 year old. My grandmother, whose name was Mary Speece, bought me a train set. In fact, this part of the table is the original table. It's 56 years old. And we've added some 4x8s and 4x4s to it to make it even larger, and we even put a top on it. But the original table is here. And I can show you some of the original pieces of that original train set. Can our producer Lori get this? All right. One of the original pieces is this station here. This particular station was from 1941, although these stations were made as early as 1932 to 36. This big station. Another original piece was this little station called the Lionel Town Station. That big one was the Lionel City Station. This was the Lionel Town Station. This one here. Another original piece from that original set was this bridge, the one I'm pointing to right now. This is an old bridge and goes back to pre-1940, or what train collectors call pre-war material. So we have 3 of the original pieces on here. Some of the other original pieces have been lost or the like. If we can pan around a little bit, I can show you what the original train looked like. Would you like to see the original train?
Oh, sure would.
All right. If we can pan around this way, over here, 3 of these cars were my first freight cars. This box car and coal car and caboose. And they are, again, what's called pre-war, or they were made approximately 1935. You see, they have the old style coupler. The newer couplers aren't like this, but these were hand couplers, and you had to put them together. Another one of my original trains, not only was the freight set, but this little passenger set. And it had 3 green passenger cars that looked like this. And these 3 green passenger cars made up the passenger train, along with this engine and tender that says Lionel Lines.
What number engine was that?
What number engine? That was 2026. Now this set was made a little later. This set was about a 1948 or 49 set. But it was like the original one from 1941. Okay. That's some of the original. Then more recent, since the war came along, we have some other material here that you'd be interested in seeing. This is 1949, this log loader here. Now they have one like that today that you can buy just like it, but this is an original.
Everything's in such nice shape.
Another original piece from back in that era would have been the water tower over there. The orange water tower with the brown top aside of the station, and we'll show how the engine gets water for the steam in a little bit. The oil derrick goes back to about 1952. You see that up on the display. And the tunnel back there, I forgot the tunnel. The tunnel is an original piece. You see Santa Claus skiing on top of it. Grandma always had Santa on top of that tunnel. And we still keep the tradition going.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
so that's
okay,
how I got started, and of course then we've added a lot of things since, and we can talk about.
Have you passed this on? I know the grandchildren are interested, and how about your sons? Are they collecting trains?
Well, they each have a train. I think the youngest son collects more than the other two, but the oldest son has a Spirit of '76, which was the Lionel bicentennial train. The middle son has a set, and the youngest son, I think, has collected more than some of the others. He has several.
Do they have them up and running, or is this a Christmas?
The only place that they're up and running right now is here. Now, my grandson, my oldest grandson, his train is the one on the roof that I'm starting around now. The little engine and tender I got for him with a couple of those cars. And so that's his train to run up on the top.
Ah, so they actually come in and can do the controls?
They do that one.
That one, yeah.
Pappy does the rest.
Where they're not switching and, yeah.
Pappy does the rest.
Well, let's move on to St. Stephen's Day, and that's today. It's one of the 7 deacons named by the apostle to distribute alms.
Right.
And for the weather, since we're filming this on Monday to be shown on Friday, let's take a guess. What's your guess for Friday?
What I've heard about the weather in the 5-day forecast was that Friday is supposed to be clearing and maybe a little windy.
Okay, well, we're going to hold you to that. All right. Okay. Dining services today. For your dinner entree, we'll be offering lemon pepper fish, glazed pork loin, and for dessert, peanut butter pie. And Warren, for the evening entrees.
Breaded chicken patty on a bun or stuffed shells, and the dessert will be sherbet.
Nice light dessert to go to sleep on. That's good. That's good thinking.
That's right.
Yeah,
and today there will be Bible study in the parlor at 9:30 this morning. That will be in the parlor, and Mrs. Rudisil is taking care of that this morning.
Oh, wonderful. We weren't sure if you were going to have that or not, but I guess I should have.
We will this morning, and Anna Rudisil is
Anna Rudisil's doing that.
That's
so
right.
All those regular Bible study people, you can be ready, and the escorts will be there for you to take you to Bible study. Good idea. Saturday we don't have anything, but Warren, what's on for Sunday?
On Sunday morning there'll be Sunday school in the personal care activity room at 8:30. At 9:15 there'll be Sunday school in the parlor. At the same time we'll have 9:15 a.m. morning worship service in the meeting house, and that worship service will be again at 10:15. And at 9:30 there'll be Roman Catholic worship in Feigler Lounge. Our speaker for Sunday morning will be Reverend Helen Osborne from the Black Rock Church of the Brethren, and I'll be leading the worship.
All right.
And they're to sign up. Anyone who wants to come to Sunday morning service should sign up with the main lobby receptionist by 8 a.m. Sunday morning if you wish transportation to the 10:15 service. Cottage pickup begins at 9:30.
Because as usual there is transportation, and that's a nice thing because today it's not so nice out there and you don't have to get out and scrape your car, or you just let the bus pick you up and bring you to church.
Right.
Okay, celebrities celebrating birthdays on Friday. Steve Allen is 76, and Alan King, who's a comedian, is 70. But Warren, who are the real people celebrating, the real celebrities?
The real celebrities on our campus today, Kay, are Carrie Berwager in healthcare, Naomi Castile in healthcare, Nicholas Fetch, who's a villager, and Jean Pace, who's a villager. They all have birthdays today. Happy birthday to Carrie, Naomi, Nicholas, Jean. All of you have birthdays today. On Saturday, Kay, we have a lot of birthdays.
Oh, we sure do. This was a popular time of the year, I guess.
Right.
Mary Duncan, a villager. Martha Newman in personal care. Charles Pierce, a villager. And Cora Shanebrook in personal care. Happy birthday to you folks.
And then on Sunday, Elizabeth Hershey, who's a villager. Louise Meckley in healthcare. Grace Minnick in personal care. Stuart Mal, a villager. And Helen Wentz, a villager, all have birthdays on Sunday.
On Sunday. And listen in the background. I'm going to take the microphone.
And while you're taking the microphone over for the birthday song, I want to say happy anniversary to Earl and Alice Fox in Cottage 24C, their 39th. To John and Catherine Budd, their 60th. And Johnson 4951, Catherine 4950. And Sunday, Burnell and Grace McSherry celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary, and George and Janet Alamong celebrate their 50th.
You know what? I think we're going to have to do those anniversaries.
We're going to have to do the anniversaries over
Would
because
you mind
we took the
doing this?
microphone
We took the microphone.
We're out of our habitat here and we're making do. Let's do the anniversaries again. Merle and Alice Fox in Cottage 24C, their 39th. John and Catherine Budd, their 60th. John's in 4951 and Catherine in 4950. On Sunday, Burnell and Grace McSherry celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary, and George and Janet Alamong their 50th wedding anniversary. A lot of golden anniversaries this weekend, aren't they?
That's
all
terrific.
Right, now we'll have Theresa do the birthday song.
And we're going to move with the microphone so we can catch that. I didn't know we were going to have our accompanist here today. I forget all the talent in this household. You know, if I would have known that, I would have had her sing too.
Well, you could have.
That would have been great. For our Out and About today, we are at the Eshbach house. And in a little bit, after we get through some of these things we have to get rid of for the show, we're going to have Warren demonstrate some of these trains for you. Now, they're called toy trains, but that's kind of what you see them advertised as, toy trains. But somehow I think they're toys for big boys, because learning to know Warren and his love of trains, and my husband and son who love trains, they're big boys.
But I know some big girls who are getting into it too.
Well, yes, it's you have to do it to survive.
I'll see now. Listen.
Yeah. No, I like the trains. I like to get involved with the scenery, and but this is really nice to see all. Let's tell them a little bit. You and I will use the phrase MTH and Lionel. Maybe you want to explain the difference to them.
For a long time, the leader in electric trains in what this is called the O-gauge electric train, as over against HO or standard or S-gauge. This is the O-gauge. And the leader in O-gauge electric trains for years, for almost 97 years, has been Lionel. And all of you, I'm sure, out there have heard about Lionel electric trains. Most of the trains on this track are Lionel. Most. The two of them are Lionel. The one back here that I said was the grandson's train, that's Lionel. And the one train that's on here that's lit up right now, it's a passenger train. It goes under the bridge here. That's a Lionel train. It's a replica of the Norfolk and Western Railroad passenger train.
And that's O-gauge, because those
O-gauge.
cars
All
are
of
a
this
little
is
bit...
O-gauge.
Okay, they're a little larger than ours
Right.
for the O27.
And Recently, though, in the last 8 to 10 years, another competitor for electric trains to Lionel has been what's called MTH, or Mike's Train House. And there are 2 trains on here that make up Mike's Train House component of this layout. The first is this silver Santa Fe El Capitan passenger train. This is a replica. And if Laurie can get a shot in here, it's this red and silver train right here with the silver cars, and I'm going to run it for you in a minute. That train crossed 7 states. The real train, of which that is a replica, crossed 7 states, and it ran daily from Chicago to Pasadena and back, a distance of over 2,000 miles. And it would run, you know, it would take maybe 24 hours. There was a sleeper car on it. You'll see the Vista Dome that passengers could sit up in there and look out. And Laurie, how about if we run that and let them see the Santa Fe El Capitan? And you'll hear that it sounds exactly like a diesel engine.
The flashing.
The flashing strobe lights, front and back. And when it starts, you can hear it begin, just like a diesel.
All lit up. You can see the people in there having a good time.
Laurie, can you get a good shot of that? Now, the next time it comes around, I'll blow the horn, and you can hear that the horn actually sounds like a diesel horn. And I'll have Kate put the mic down toward the track.
Sure does. Now when you get it around here again, stop it so we can have the folks hear the conversation going on in here.
Right here. That's the air brakes you hear. And if you let it sit a little bit, you'll hear the engineer begin to talk. It'll take about 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
That's just what they do in the railroads. They cut back, and you can hear the compressors running in the cars. They run the heat or the air conditioning and the electrical systems for the passenger cars.
All right, 1936 over.
There, the engineer's giving his number at 1936.
And these are all electronic chips, right?
That's right, computer chips in the engines.
Now, I have to tell you something, that the fact that my husband loves his trains and he knows a lot about his engine as far as it is being a Lionel train. But he's always impressed with how you know the trains, the real trains. You'll have the train running, you know the engine, you know what states they ran in, you know all about those engines as a real train, not just a Lionel train. Like the El Capitan, I just figured, oh heck, that's a fancy name they picked out of the air, but not so, right?
No, that was a real train. There was that train was called the El Capitan, or the Captain. It's Spanish, and it ran through the Southwest, and that's why it was called the El Capitan. Now, these trains have a bell. You want to hear the bell?
Yes, let's hear the bell. That's the cycles, right? Now they go through. Are you interested in trains, the history of trains, not just toy trains?
Yes, I enjoy reading about the various railroads that existed in this country.
A bygone era.
It's a bygone era. I think that I'm going to turn this one off now.
Okay.
I think that it's a shame that it's a bygone era, because I think that had we kept railroads along with building of roads and airlines, we would save a little more energy than we do. It doesn't take as much to travel in a diesel engine with passengers at high speeds as it does to run all the buses and trucks and things, and the same goes for hauling
and
freight.
pollutants and
Right.
Yeah.
Now let me show you the second passenger
All
train.
right, we have another one coming out. Now this looks like
This
this
is a
could be.
Lionel train. And
Now you need to explain what you're going to do here because
All right.
now this is very sophisticated toy train.
this is a Lionel Trainmaster remote control. And you see there's a little antenna here, and there's a little box right here in the control area of the railroad. And all I have to do is control it right from this button. For instance, I can blow the whistle. Hear me? I'm just pushing a button to run the whistle. Now we'll try to get this one steamed up here a little bit. You know, they never do what you want them to do.
No, Lionel is famous for that. Whenever we have anyone in for a show, we have to laugh because
Let me go talk to the
that's
engineer here a
you
little
may
bit.
have to have words with the engineer.
I don't know. There we go.
Boy, that steams. Look at the smoke coming out of that.
Yeah. Now that engine is an older Lionel engine. That's the famous Berkshire engine that pulled many passenger trains, many freight trains. Some of them on the Reading Railroad, Pensy. It was an engine that was made particularly for hauling freight in New York State. Thus it got the name the Berkshire. That the passenger train of that. Well, it did whistle. I don't know what happened to his whistle. It was whistling.
Yeah,
But
we heard it at first.
The passenger train of that is a replica of the Norfolk and Western Powhatan train. It had an Indian name. It ran from Norfolk, Roanoke, Virginia, through Roanoke, and on west into eventually Chicago. The Norfolk and Western Railroad.
Beautiful train.
And those cars are representative of that. And you can see in the cars the people that sit.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the back of the table and show the people how we put water in the tender.
Okay, now that's a full Vista Dome, right?
That's right. Where the El Capitan just had a partial Vista Dome.
Okay, I think I can come over here and get the mic.
When we bring the train around here, we're going to stop it at the water tower, and we're going to show you how we put water into the tender. Well,
The nice thing about the remote is you can move all around your table.
if it works right.
Well, the engineer knows more than you do. He says he doesn't need water.
There. A little help from his friends. Now, watch here. See the spout is in the upright position. When I push the button, it'll go down and put water in the tender. Now, this piece was made, it was made in the early 40s. This is a near original piece. This one doesn't have water in. There was one that they made that had water, and you could see the water go down, the level go down. It would be pumped up into the tank. I always wanted a water one, but my grandmother wouldn't permit it. She said water and electricity don't mix.
And how true, how true. We always say when the hand comes in to assist, we call it the giant hand.
Yeah, well, the giant hand needs a little help.
Every now and then these trains are a little stubborn. That smoke's really nice too.
That's the older smoke model that was used with pellets.
See the circles of smoke coming out? Beautiful shape. They run really smooth.
All right, we're going to stop that train a while on the way back, and then I'm going to show you the freight train and a lot of the things that happen with our freight train on our railroad.
Okay.
Am I coming through loud enough?
I hope so. Do you know that freight train is a moneymaker? That gets the product from the farm into the cities, right?
Right.
Whoa. Nice whistle on that. No prototype sound there.
No, that's the old sound. Oh, I need to show you one more thing with this train, though. Sometime we need to stop this train because this train runs over a bridge. And Kay, do you know what that bridge is called?
Oh, I should have heard it. Tell me again.
The Bascule Bridge.
Yes, the Bascule Bridge.
This train has stopped here because there's something going under the bridge, and it's going to go up.
Aha. Could be a big ship going under there.
That could be.
I can remember the excitement when you found that bridge.
Yeah, I was quite excited.
That is, I'm glad you have that. That's a nice piece, a nice addition. And again, your accessories are all handled by this remote control.
That's right. And we're going to stop him around there and let him wait a little bit.
Till the lines are clear.
We'll let him wait there. All right, now what I'd like to do is show you the freight layout for our railroad.
And I guess we have to remind them here to read the cars carefully, because there might be a familiar car on this train.
There could be.
There could be something everybody recognizes.
I want us to come over here and look at the little freight train up in the hills. And just like up in the hills of Pennsylvania or any state, the trains always carried coal. On our layout up in the hills, we have oil being pumped, and maybe Laurie can get a view of that oil derrick over here. And we have coal being delivered, and we're going to stop the train and we're going to show you the coal. Now you see the train has stopped with a hopper car. That red Lehigh Valley hopper car right here is under the coal conveyor.
I was born in Lehigh County.
Were you? Okay.
So those cars are familiar to me.
Right. Now watch this one. The coal is bringing up on the conveyor and putting it into the coal car, just like they used to do on the real railroads and still do.
Railroading up in the coal regions is still the way to get the coal in and out.
Now, at the same time, while we're over here, I want to show you that we load barrels of oil into the siding here for these cars. Now, if you'll watch right here, you'll see the barrels come up and drop into the freight car. Are you ready? Now watch. See the barrels going down in the car? And the last one going up. There he goes in.
And just like in the mountains of Pennsylvania, there's lots of snow up there.
So the train starts again to take the cars. And you can see that one's puffing smoke too. All right. We'll stop him for a while now.
Okay, how about before we leave this section, maybe Lori can get just a peek up here on your mantle.
Yeah, we have a train on the mantle right now that is a newer Lionel train set. And I have, there's a fifth car to that that's sitting over under the grain elevator on the layout. This is called the Western Maryland Coal Train, Coal and Hopper Train. And it was a special set that Lionel produced about 3 years ago. And this was a familiar train, particularly to people in this area, because York, you know, was the northeasternmost end of the Western Maryland Railroad.
Right.
York was the end of the line for a railroad that went from York through Hanover, Gettysburg, Fairfield,
the way up.
Waynesboro, Hagerstown, and on out into Maryland, Cumberland, Maryland, and Frostburg, Maryland, and eventually landed up in West Virginia and Ohio. But York was the northeasternmost extension of that. And so a lot of these coal trains, I can remember when I went to Gettysburg College, the railroad went right by the college, and I used to see trains just like that.
Oh, that's what Gene says, and we got our set about the same time you got your set.
Right.
And he remembers these trains coming through New Oxford. At that time, they lived right at the railroad tracks in New Oxford.
And they were some of the same ones I saw in Gettysburg before they got to New Oxford.
Yep. So.
And this engine is what's called a G9 engine, GP9. And they were the ones that pulled those trains. Very powerful engines, and with a little caboose on behind. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on, see what you're going to show us next.
All right. I would like to show you the train set, and I'm going to highlight this particular train set.
This is a special one.
This is a special one. The engine on this train set says Susquehanna on it. And it's an engine like is on the current Susquehanna Railroad in New York State. And this particular train was given to me. It was a gift of mine from the Southern Pennsylvania District. And we're going to start that up. You'll hear the bell, and then you'll hear the diesel sound.
What are these things on the top here? Are these fans cooling?
Yes, they're the cooling fans for the big engines that are underneath.
These are small scale, but they're very, very well done.
Very well done.
Yep.
And as you can see, I'm going to pull the train up here. As you can see on this part of the train, I want Laurie to focus on this tank car.
Everybody watch as this comes around.
See that tank car says the Eshbach Railroad with C of B, Southern Pennsylvania. That's the actual letters. If that car were owned by the Church of the Brethren in Southern Pennsylvania District, that's the letters that they would put on that car.
C of B, Southern PA.
All right.
Eshbach Railroad. You're here, folks, in person.
Okay. Now we're going to run some freight here. Now we've stopped the freight train right by the coal or the log loader, and we're going to load logs here right now. Watch.
Those are heavy logs.
Heavy logs and an old log loader.
Ah, here they come. Those logs look like they've been loaded many times. Aha, there's one. Pretty neat.
We've loaded logs, and we've loaded coal and some barrels on the other freight train. Now, let me show you that we can also load ice on this train.
Listen to the sound of that engine.
Now, what we've done now, we've stopped by the icing station. And if you watch, Laurie, if you can focus in here, there's a little ice man back here that'll put ice in this car. When I drop some ice down for them. All right. Where do we get a little ice here?
Did it.
Okay.
I'm sure that's a refrigerated car to keep that ice good and cold.
That's refrigerated. Okay. Now we're going to move around, and we have some cows on the car. They've been pretty quiet.
I need to know the story of the Pepper Packaging Company.
Well, that's the Pepper Beef Packaging Company. That delivers beef to the market.
Oh, all right.
All right. And over here, we have a cattle pen with a cattle car.
All right, I'm going to let you get over there, and I'll follow you with the mic.
All right.
Okay, real good, thank you. I didn't realize you're on this.
Can you get the cattle going in the car there? There go the cattle into the...
I don't know. They look like they don't want to go to me.
They don't, but they are.
They are. Now that's not a new accessory.
No. No, that accessory dates back to 1949.
Now I see some of your cats and dogs and sheep. Were they from your original layout? Some of your trees?
No, they were some of my son's originals from the early 70s. This wooden house was handmade, and that goes back to 1926. That wooden one right there. Now, if Laurie can get a shot of the milk car, we can show you how we unload milk.
Now that's an important commodity.
That's right here. And there's a man in there, and I don't know if she's going to be able to see him come out or not.
Well, if he's not too fast. Can you get him, Lori? No, can't get him.
Let me turn the truck up and give him a little power. She might not be able to catch him because he's on the other side.
Okay, real good, thank you. I didn't realize you're on this.
Do you want to pause it?
Watch the car. See the milk can? I see he throws them out.
Seems to me he was a little reckless there.
Yeah, he is reckless.
Okay, real good, thank you. I didn't realize you're on this.
He doesn't have the strength to
Okay,
throw
real
them
good,
that
thank
he
you. I
used
didn't
to.
realize you're on this.
He used to throw them out there pretty good. There he goes.
There.
Okay. Around here we have a grain bin that doesn't do anything except we pretend that it fills this grain car that's pulled in the siding right there.
A lot of this is pretend, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
A lot of this is
This is a
pretend.
little switchman's tower. And if you'll notice, back in our village, we even have a little trolley that runs.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can get my mic here.
Okay, real good, thank you. I didn't
See the
realize you're on
trolley going back?
Okay, taking you through town. Those are beautiful houses. Are they ceramic?
Yes, they are. They are newer. And the church there, way back there, the church is an actual replica of the Shippensburg Church of the Brethren
Aha.
from this district. Okay.
So a lot of the Church of the Brethren comes with you on your railroad, doesn't
You
it?
bet. Now, there's one car that I wanted to show you, and I thought it would starting to move before this. This is a cattle car.
They're disturbed. And the more the train rocks and rolls.
They're supposed to move when the train goes, but the train's been pretty
smooth.
And so they don't move as much.
Yeah. We have one of those, and we like to turn it on and not tell people.
That's what I was hoping would happen here.
And then they just start mooing.
All right. You've seen everything there is.
Let's let Lori get a shot of running, and then we'll...
Lori, get a shot of everything running.
You have 4 trains running at one time, right?
Right. Even though one's going backward now. There he goes.
There he is. You don't know where to look next. And they're winding down. Whoa. Do you think we can wind you down enough now to get you interested in devotions?
Oh, I think we should do that.
This is fabulous. You have told me about the proto sound, and we have a little bit of it at our house, but not quite as much as this. There, now the cows are going to talk back to us.
I'm ready to do devotions. The
cows are going to act up. Right. So I think right now, why don't we just turn it over to you, and we'll have you do devotions before we do our sign-off.
Thank you, Kay. Our devotional for today is a special one. It's a Christmas one out of John's Gospel. And I want to read, first of all, John 1:1 to 14, as the cattle low in the background. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He himself was not the light, but he came to testify to the light. The true light which enlightens everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came into being through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, and his own people did not accept him. But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who were born not of blood, or of the will of the flesh, or of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. In the midst of Christmas, we need to remember again that Christ came to cattle, among the cattle who were lowing, to a world who thought it had everything. And God did something new. The Gospel of John says nothing about the actual birth of Jesus, but the magnificent prologue to the Gospel says a lot about why it mattered. There we read that the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. Without the light of Christ, we struggle in the world's darkness. Without that light, we either give up in despair or endlessly and uselessly plot ways to ward off the ultimate futility of life. We fear the darkness, but we are powerless to overcome it. Now comes the light, and we can see our way. John proclaims the essential point. The Word, God, became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. Christ is God's grace to us. Christ freely offers God's love, which we could never merit on our own, and which draws us out of our despair. Christ can be God's grace to us because Christ is also the truth about God. Christ is who and what God really is. Now we know. Now the darkness of our ignorance and fear has been broken. The essential truth about life has to appear in human form in order to touch us. God cannot be remote and speculative to penetrate our deeper self. The heart of the meaning of God, the Logos, the Word, somehow must be present in the flesh, or we shall never get it. On Christmas, this Christmas, every Christmas, we celebrate God's true presence to us in Christ, who came amidst a lowly manger, that we might understand ourselves and our God better. Let us pray. Thank you, God, for the gift of Christmas, for the grace that comes to us in Jesus Christ. This day, help us to ponder that grace in our own lives and to find strength and hope in its meaning. In Jesus' name, amen.
Very good message for this day after Christmas. We want to thank the Eshbachs for inviting us to their home today, to Theresa, and let's bring Theresa in here. You need to give her credit for giving you all this room.
We always, at the end of the show, give credit to everybody. We thank our producer, our executive producer, our pianist. This year, I'd like to thank my wife, Theresa, for providing a lot of help with me in putting up this layout and being willing to forego having the family room disrupted for a season. So, Theresa, thank you.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Merry Christmas.
And to you also. And Merry Christmas to all of you.
Merry Christmas, and we'd like to remind you that every Monday through Friday, right here on Channel 25, tune in at 8:30 in the morning for In Touch. And I think our parting shot has to be these trains. I think each one of you out there, pick one in your mind that you'd like to be on. Think of where you might be going, and we'll turn it over to Warren and his controls, and he'll run the trains one last time for us.